not an Atmiya member, by clicking on the link, like join our WhatsApp group, and then or go to the website, register, and join as a member. Yeah, I think we can probably get started. Subba Badeti garu, welcome Andy. Welcome to this Atmiya group. And Subba Badeti garu is from Hyderabad with the roots from Atili, like Andhra, and has his highest education from BITS Pilani, and started working with IT companies in various levels. And he's actually a true example for someone who can grow within an organization and crack the C-suite roles like the CEO roles within no time. So welcome, sir. And currently he is a CEO at Tanisha Systems Inc., founded in 2002 and headquartered in New Jersey. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Chaitanya. Just brief introduction about myself. Like I said, my name is Subba, and I live in New Jersey right now. Been in the USA since '96 and associated with the IT staffing industry. And after working in Bahrain and also in Oman, this is my third country that I've been working in. I love staffing industry, and it's because we interact with people, we help people with their careers. So that's a pleasure of doing business while we are making a decent living. My family background, married for 30 years. I have 3 kids. Son is doing his MD PhD in Rutgers, and my twin daughters, one is graduated nursing, and the other one is in computer science. So last year they graduated, and I was thinking about what is the purpose of my life. And actually, I always wanted to mentor other entrepreneurs and individuals in their career with respect to the IT. So I really want to thank Atmiya for this opportunity and Om for thinking of me. And hopefully, I will not disappoint you. And I'll give you some honest, straight answers to the best of my knowledge. Thank you. With that, I would request for the Q&A to start with so that we can have the discussion in a very open platform so that we can take it to the logical conclusion.
Yeah. So I'll please post your questions and like in the chat, and we'll go one by one, and later we can open it up to the floor. And we have a few questions from Jay Chimta, like how do we find the right IT talent?
Right. So, what is this is something that is very close to my heart. We come from India, we come from Telugu, AP, and I think a lot of the talent pool is from the OPT, H1B from AP. We have to thank our predecessors for coming and creating a good reputation, brand recognition for Indian talent. If you see all the CEOs of the big companies, we are so fortunate because of their name and recognition, we are able to do it. But what I'm noticing right now is the talent has become very less skilled. There is a objective of getting ahead of the game by hook or by crook, and that is a problem that we are going to have uh, going forward. As entrepreneurs, I think it's our responsibility to take care that the talent does not misrepresent their skill set. uh, we are seeing a lot of proxies, fakes, resumes, people doing the job. So what is going to happen is someday, just like we are getting clients saying that no JNTU resumes. So we are going to say no Indian resumes. Then we'll go to no Telugu resumes. So we are doing more harm to the next generation of people by concentrating on making a few dollars right now. My sincere request to all on this platform is to spread the word that we do not go ahead and put fake, proxy, uh, duplicate resumes into the system because it's going to hurt the industry, it's going to hurt our reputation, it is going to hurt our credibility going forward. And I think that is something which is very close to my heart. The implications are twofold. The first thing is we are seeing a lot of clients coming up with putting legal cases on these people. So the FBI is opening up a internet crime division for this proxy and fake. And if the resource has got a social security number, they are going to track him. So there will be no H1B renewals, there will be no green card, and there could be a problem entering into the country. And the payment cycles are also going to be different, which is going to affect the companies. Uh, the billing is monthly, the payments are 90 days or 120 days. So approximately 4 months of time is there. By thinking that we are gaming the system and doing the interviews and getting selected, we are going to be sitting duck when it comes to payment terms. So my thinking is sooner or later, the companies are going to be sued. There are requests going on where any for proxy candidate, the company is liable and they want to sue for the company for a lost revenue, damaged reputation. So I think we are treading very dangerous waters here. It's going to be a problematic situation going forward. So if there is anything that people want to disagree with me or think of a better way, I think I'm open for suggestions. But what we are seeing is the industry is getting very, very picky and they are not going to appreciate the fake and proxy candidates going forward. So my request is all the people who are interested in making a career in IT, spend time, pick up the toughest skill, spend 3 months, get certification, become the best you can be. And I think that is really going to help you make your career, because if you do not build a solid foundation for your academic thing, you are not going to be successful in this country. This country is purely on merit. And what we have done in India is different. Our education doesn't matter. This is our rebirth. This is our country. We represent our country and we represent our Telugu people. And we should make sure that we don't bring our credibility and reputation down.
Yeah. Very nice explanations. And on the same basis, right? Same note, like how to balance cost and quality, uh,
See, the problem is if this place, right? See, when we come from India, we have a lot of prejudices. We need to know the right connections with the right people, the right caste, the right political connection, everything. If you are really good, this country will recognize you. Focus on your work, be disciplined, be the best you can be, continue to get certifications, continue to learn the subject that you are in, and I think you will have a long career. So when you are very good, you will demand the prize. You cannot be indispensable by playing politics, because we need to be delivering the stuff. If we don't deliver the stuff, they will catch us sooner or later. And I think we will have a tough time continuing your career more than 5 or 7 years.
yeah. And as a CEO of Tanisha, you compete with other CEOs or other companies. So how do you find a way to approach the vendors in IT staffing, or probably how do you find these clients, vendors?
See, the clients will come. There are two variables in this IT industry. One is resource, one is requirement. If you are going to be a smaller company, the best thing to do is to focus on your resource pool, because you need a critical revenue, critical headcount. You need to have a lot of business development to grow there. So the best thing to do is to focus on the resources, train them, get them certified, make them upskill with respect to communication, with respect to taking initiatives, with respect to building their attitude and aptitude, and then you will be able to open up new doors. So if you are interested in doing T&M, the resource is the way to go. If you are interested in doing SOWs, pick a product that you want to develop. So when we look at the Indian education system, it only teaches us how to maintain a product. It doesn't make us think out of the box. It doesn't make us think how to develop a product or a service or a new line of business. We are like sheep mentality. We go through whatever is the easiest thing, whatever others have done. but it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of initiative, creativity to think of a product and a service. And that is really going to help you in your valuation when you want to sell your company. Staffing companies are not great in respect to selling, but a product company or a good service line is definitely going to give you the return of investment that you are going to put in right now.
Nice. How do you maintain ethics in staffing world, or probably like working with other staffing agencies?
See, for me, the best thing is honesty is the best policy. If you think that we can win a battle, but we lose the war. So you might win a placement, but if your credibility is down the drain after so many years, company will go down to the dogs. So what I am requesting is, if you want to, unlike India, a lot of things can be put under the carpet. It depends on whom you know, what you know. But here, the social security number, the federal ID number, and the internet is definitely going to come back and haunt you. If you want to make a long-term career in this country, I think that we should follow ethics, we should be honest, and we should think about the future. If you are going to be a fly-by-night operator, you can do whatever you like. It doesn't matter. But if you are going to think of building an institution which you can leave it to your children, or you can create employment for a lot of people going forward, please do the right thing right now. Because when you go back in time, you can't undo the damage that you have done. So every transaction that you do has to be ethical. It has to represent the true values. When my kids were going to school, I used to tell them only one thing. If they get caught cheating, it is as good as me dying while I'm alive. So my request to everybody is, think of it that you are representing India, you are representing your people, and you are representing the good of this country. We don't want this country to become like India. We have to leave the bad thing there, only get the good stuff here and take how we can go forward. I'm sorry if I'm being very emotional on this topic, but I'm thinking that the more and more interactions I do with companies, they want to do their best by compromising on their beliefs and values. And that is really very saddening for me.
Yeah, one other question from very basic. So someone wanted to start a IT company, and what to do, or where do they start, and what is probably the structure that they need to have getting started, because you are coming from someone zero to probably 1,000 2,000 employee company. So um, for someone very new in the industry, just getting started, what are the to do things that they may the best practices, I would say.
So actually, this is the topic of my presentation, Chaitanya.
Okay.
So if we can keep this question for a later down when we are done with the half an hour question and answer session. Uh, Most important thing before you start a company, you should ask yourself, why do I need to start a company? What is my motivation? And what am I willing to compromise to get to the destination? If you don't know that thought process, it is going to be very difficult, because I always keep telling about this analogy of Abhimanyu in Mahabharata. The guy was very young, dynamic, dashing, he was brave, he was very good at war. But when he got into the Chakravyuh, he did not know how to get out. So before you do anything, you have to decide what is your exit strategy. If you are going to be losing your hand, leg, or life, and what is that you are willing to trade when you want to exit. And that will determine whether you want to get into that or not. So if you want to start a company, I'm not cut out for starting a company, but I have worked for companies and I have grown the business from 78 million to 250 million in one company, 20 million to 150 million in another company. But I enjoy the work that I do. But it is, you have to decide whether you have the financial backing, you have the value system, your beliefs are strong. Are you going to be having temptations? Are you going to have a risk tolerance? You need to understand yourself before you do a company. Just because your neighbor started a company and he has 50, 100 people doesn't give you the right that you can be the CEO of that company. successful there. You might be successful in real estate, you might be successful in stocks, but you might not be successful in the staffing, which is so easy for somebody else. Right now, the staffing industry is cutthroat. The margins are very thin, and the people have become very, very smart when they come to India from India. They know more about the USA than we are here. So, trying to talk to them about reasoning, they want instant gratification, they want quick wins, they want to grow very, very fast. If you are thinking of making a staffing in business, you have to really think hard whether you can sustain the interactions with people, will sustain the rules changing with USCS, sustain the payment cycles that customers are giving. So all these factors will come into play before you start a business.
Okay. One other thing, how do you introduce culture or like basically, yeah, the employee retainment in an organization? Like employee started with you and you want him to stay with him, especially in a staffing world. Like how what the best practices that you use to retain him?
So the first and foremost thing is treat others the way you want to be treated. If you give respect, you get it respect. If you give them love, you get them get love back. But if you are grateful, don't expect gratitude from them. Most of the time, people don't appreciate the help that they receive, but they always remember the help that they have given. If you are starting a business and if your goal is to help others to reach their destination because you have done the journey of H1B, green card, and US citizenship, you want to help others. That is what you should be focusing on. Making money is a secondary byproduct, but helping others, interacting with people, putting yourself in their shoes, and doing the best that you can will definitely lead to a good company. So, for example, if you are running a company, you should have good health plan. You should give them a 401k. You should give them a financial stability. Because when you talk about dollars and dollars only, people are going to say how much margin you are making. People are going to tell you what is the benefit that you are getting. So when you talk to a person or a resource, you have to give a holistic approach with respect to saying that staying with me, you will get green card. Staying with me, you will be able to make a financial future for yourself and your family. Staying with me, you might become an entrepreneur down the road because an entrepreneur understands the pain and suffering that he has to gone through, and he has to spawn more entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, we are not going to take the money to the next life, but we have to be making sure that we are passing on the good knowledge, wisdom to others so that they can succeed in life as well.
Yeah. And one other question on the consulting world. How do you manage the onshore offshore model?
Yeah, it's become a very people in the USA when the year that they come, their mental makeup is set here. They are neither Americans nor Indians. But people in India have got the entire continuation of the inflation, continuation of their knowledge, and their expectations are all different. If a new product is here, they want definitely want that product to be there tomorrow in their hand. So it becomes very difficult to manage their expectations. One of my bosses told me, the life is all about managing expectations with reality. If I do some job and make $10, the company has to give me some $120. So that is the mindset that people have. Being transparent, being open with them, it has got its pros and cons. People will think that the company is making a lot more money, but the company needs to make profit to sustain the business. It cannot be running as a non-profit organization because we need to support the green card, we need to run the payroll. There could be a cycle where there is a recession, there could be a slowdown, there could be attrition. So those are the things that the company needs to maintain to keep the business going. So when people are understanding that the vision of the company is in benefit for them, for their future and for their growth, they end up staying for the longer term. But I can tell you for a fact that in the 26 years that I have been doing, the people in India, their money driven focus is totally on the forefront right now. Earlier, it used to be career, it has to be the continuity of a job. But if you are able to give people an opportunity to come to the USA on B1 visa, make them work here for 2, 3 months on L1 visa or H1B, and get the talent from there. You give them the growth path, they will continue to stay with you.
Very nice, sir. And how do we handle the conflicts? Or you have a supplier bypass the consultant? Uh, how do you take it?
See, the problem, that's a legal question, of course, Chaitanya. But the point is, um, at the end of the day, you don't expect gratitude from people. You don't expect them to be respectful. You cannot be so scared that you are going to lose a resource. But what we need to tell the resources is that staying with a H1B consulting company is beneficial till he gets his green card. Because right now we are seeing so many layoffs happening in all the big companies. Why? Because they don't have the visibility for a long term project and they cannot go and remarket them through that H1B. So there are two problems that they have. One, a H1B guy needs to maintain his status. The second, he needs to be constantly billing to get a paycheck done. A consulting company will take away the H1B problem and give him the stability and give him the opportunity to get his green card, irrespective of the project. We need to be having the flexibility of traveling from East Coast to West Coast depending on the project expectation. And that would really help us to keep our billing going on. If we can convince the resource that green card is the primary focus that he needs to be in, that would really help.
Nice, sir. Very nice. And same, I think the same applies to with the payment due from a client or vendor. What would be your approach?
That's the reason why I decided, I think that a consulting company which is not having finances should not start. The reason is it's not possible for somebody to live in this country without getting paid bi-weekly. And if you are linking that payment to the vendor payment or the customer payment, then the resource is going to complain and he is going to borrow money. And whatever money he is making, he is going to pay interest on the credit card. Like you are going to borrow money from the bank, you are going to be paying interest. If you delay the entire supply chain, you don't expect the resource to stay with you. So that if you make his life miserable, he is going to make your life miserable too. He is going to bypass you and he is going to say that my company doesn't pay on time. So what will happen is all the effort that you have done to nurture the talent, train the talent, and to place the talent, you are going to lose it overnight because you are not running the payroll on time. And it is a big exposure with IRS, also with USCIS, that if the guy doesn't get paid, you are going to be opening up a front which is not comfortable.
Nice. And seeing all these recession news and other things, how does a IT staffing firm operate during recession?
See, the whole objective is recessions are uh, parts of cycle in America, unlike in India. But here, the good news is uh, US is so big, vast. Some companies will do well, and some companies will do bad in recession time as well. When the boom is there, similarly, some companies will do well and some companies will not. Our goal as an entrepreneur is to look at all the opportunities that we have and position ourselves over the recession period of time. So when you are, it's a holistic approach. When you look at the finances, don't overstretch yourself by funding a lot more ventures. A lot of these consulting companies have this common thing that they make money in the consulting. They go and invest in real estate in India and they think that that will be a better multiplier, or they will open up different businesses in the USA and put expect that the consulting company is going to feed them. But when the recession hits, it will not hit from one sector, it will hit from all sides. So don't spread yourselves thin. Don't go ahead and put your money in all possible ways. Try to sustain, like you have a personal finances of 6 months in your savings account. You should also have this ability to withstand with the business, even if it is low. So your fixed cost of labor and also operating costs, you should be able to take care for the next 6 months without any shocks to the system. Otherwise, you will be running helter skelter and payment delays, reputation, credibility, everything is going to come into play.
And one question, I think this again ties to the presentation. How do we switch from regular IT job to a consultancy business? Like, so someone wants to get started again, so quitting a job and starting a company, or can they do it on a part-time basis and then switch over?
It's a personal choice. I think you have to decide on your personal situation. It depends upon your responsibilities. Uh, the first generation people, when they come here, we don't have any roots. We need to settle ourselves. We need to establish ourselves. We need to provide for our children's education. We have to take care of our healthcare benefits because that is a very expensive proposition. When you want to do a consulting job, this is where I think we have to be very cognizant. Most of the people think that consulting is very easy. You can make money in real estate, you can make money in stock market, you can buy a lottery ticket and become a millionaire. So when you want to, if your career is already in the consulting arena, and if you think that this is piece of cake and it can be done, you cannot do both the jobs at the same time. You cannot be a consultant and you cannot run your company. Sooner or later, you will have to make a switch. And if you go too far out into the business side, you will lose your value proposition. You will be making money on other people's skills. But if you are a consultant, your primary income is your skill set, and that is where your career can continue to grow. And you can use that income to generate other incomes reasonably without much risk, depending upon your life status.
Okay. I think we are done with a good amount of questions, and we can probably go to Q&A.
Oh, okay. Do you want to share the presentation,
Yeah,
Chaitanya,
yeah,
so that
I can do that. Yes.
please?
Subba, can I ask one question? A lot of people, they're aspiring entrepreneurs and everything. So, how to build a sales team, both the recruitment team and bench sales team, or and both on BDM side? What is hierarchy you guys follow? What are the best practices in terms of forming the teams from the business development team, recruitment team, bench sales team? How do you track the KPIs? What are the best practices? And can you please share? Some of the people are having the tough time to hire the good people. They're hiring but they're not getting results, and also if you have a good person, they're asking more money. And maybe that you can shed more light on it, Subra.
Slide number 6
Subra.
will answer your question. Oh,
Oh, thank you. You have the presentation. Maybe Chaitanya, we should start with that. Thank you.
thank you.
I hope you
Thank you.
are able to see my screen.
So the first disclaimer is I am not an entrepreneur. I have worked in companies and I had my reasons not to be an entrepreneur. But I thought that this forum will give me the opportunity to mentor entrepreneurs, to mentor people who want to make a career in the IT space. I have 27 years of experience in this IT arena. I hope that there is some value that I can bring to the table. I might not have all the answers and my thinking could be wrong. So take it for what it's worth and see whether you can improvise on whatever thought process I have. Thank you. Next slide. So my thinking is when I looked at the choices of being an entrepreneur, the first and foremost is managing yourself. Because at the end of the day, a entrepreneur is a visionary. He is having the courage. He has the willpower, determination, and he feels that he can do it. If the person doesn't think that he is capable or cut out, he will not embark on this journey because this is not very easy and it is not for the faint of hearts. Next slide. So my thinking is everybody says life is a journey trying to find out what we are. and what we are interested in. So this self-discovery is something that we need to know. If you don't know yourself, you are playing somebody else's game. If you are, so what works for others doesn't work for you necessarily. So you have to be honest with yourself to see whether I am capable, what am I good at, what are my values, what are my beliefs, what is that I'm willing to do to get ahead of the game, and what are the things that what are the red lines that I have which I will not compromise on. So that will determine your boundaries and that will determine your success. Because initially we have to have some roadmap, some goal, some vision. Without that, it will become very difficult to embark on this entrepreneurship. So if you look at it a vision should have a short-term goal, a milestone that you want to accomplish between the first year and the third year, and a long term within 3 and 5 years. This is not just applicable to entrepreneurs, it is all applicable to our individual lives as well. We also do it unconsciously, but when we are doing a business plan or whether we want to do a entrepreneurship, we have to be very clear about this because we can't say that, okay, dekh lenge baad mein kya hoga, ya tara chuskundaam le. These are all things that are playing by the wind and you will not get onto the destination. But these goals, unless you have some roadmap, you can alter them, you can modify them, but you will also have a report to see whether I'm on the goal, I'm on making this worthwhile, or am I wasting my time and my resources on a journey that is not fulfilling or rewarding. So this will give you the comparison to what you set out to do and what you're accomplishing. And most important thing is in any relationship or any transaction or any business, one should have a clear cut exit strategy. Next slide, please. This I picked up from the Google. So when I told about Abhimanyu, this is like the exit strategy. So if he doesn't know how to get out of the situation, then he is going to be dead there. So most of the people, what I have noticed is our mentality is we start a company, we grow the company, we maintain the company, and we kill the company in our lifetime. So that is the problem because the best idea that we have or the vision that we have, we can take the company from A to B. But from B to C, we might need a new blood, new vision, new thoughts, because the systems are changing, the mindset is changing, and our ability to add value becomes less. So whenever you are looking at your company as a growth path, as or to take it to the next level, you need to get new blood, new ideas, new vision. And that, if you cannot do that, you should be thinking of an exit strategy for yourself. So every company that I have worked in, I always thought about a succession planning. The business that I have created should be continuing even after I'm gone. And for that, I need to build leaders. I need to build a team which can maintain when I'm not there. And it should become better after I leave because there are so many people's careers and livelihoods that are being dependent upon the role that I'm doing. And if I cannot add value, I'm becoming a liability. So think of it before you start a company as to what your end game is. If you don't have an end game, if you say, okay, if I make $1 million, I will sell the company. Then after reaching million, you will say, no, let us make it for 5 million. God forbid if it becomes a half a million, what will you do then? A lot of time we keep regretting about the missed opportunities or the things that we should have done in the previous life. So if you are an entrepreneur, I would rather say that 95 decisions on out of 100 per day, if they are good, you should move forward. You cannot go back and wallow on those 5 decisions that you have lost. Because if you keep worrying about those 5, the next day the 95 will not be done. So some based on the information and the input that you have at that particular day, you have to decide that this is the right course of action, provided that is fitting with your business plan, fitting with your values and beliefs. And don't compromise on them because you make a first compromise, then a second compromise becomes much more easier. So once you feel that I want to exit after $1 million, and if that is the goal that you have set out to, and if that is what you want, you have to move on. Otherwise, you will be having what if decision making. That is the challenge that most of the people will have. Next, please. So I think the text got messed up. Um, so my philosophy in life, I will share with you. To gain something, you have to lose something. If you want to be focused on business, and if you want to do the things that you want, um, might be I will share my screen.
Sure, Subba.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So to gain something, you have to lose something. The problem is we are only looking at the gain is obvious. I want to be $1 million company, or I want to be having million in my bank balance. But the loss is not obvious. So my thinking is first you identify what are you willing to give up to get your destination. If you don't have that thought process, you might be a millionaire, but you might not have the time with your children or time with your family. And they might not be people that you know after 10 years, after 15 years. So you decide whether you want to have the weekends with you, or after 6 hours, you want to have peace of mind, whether you want to be only driven by money and motivation. At the end of the day, if you are not happy with the money that you're making, or it doesn't serve you any purpose, it's of no use. So that what is that you're willing to lose is the decision that you have to know before you embark on this journey. And there is always a price that you pay when you grow. It's not going to be an easy, automatic response. So my primary focus in a new entrepreneur is to find out what is your motivation to start a business. If money is the only focus, then your decision making will be driven by that. If you are interested in helping others with their careers, with their livelihood, with building a future in the America, that's a different thing. If you're interested in fame, you would be differently handling it different. So all these questions have different questions, surprisingly. And if you know your sweet spot, then your life becomes much more easier to decide. So for me, peace of mind is more important. I want to sleep at night, so I don't compromise on my values. And for that is one of the reasons why I did not do business, because I did not want to be faking proxy. Those creativity is not in my alley. So that's the reason I did not want to do anything. I only work with the companies which are clear, and I don't have to be worried about somebody looking over my shoulder. And with respect to work-life balance, like I told, and also the risk tolerance, what is another thing that you need to know. People have some are conservative. If they make $10 gain in the stock market, they feels happy. But if they lose $1, they become miserable. If that is you, might be you decide whether you want to do business or not, and what stage of life you are in, and how well do you manage your finances yourself. Are you investing in 401k, doing your health savings account? Are you doing your IRAs? Are you trying to reduce your taxes, playing by the books? If you do not know how to organize yourself, might be you cannot suggest others to do it, because any person who has embarked on a journey, who has mastered the path, can only teach others. Otherwise it becomes very difficult, because we don't know what we are talking about. So my major question is, people in India know more about what's happening in the USA. By being an entrepreneur and doing something wrong here, if our name comes on TV, I don't know how they will react. That's one thing that we need to be very clear about. So ego, prejudices, do we work well with the teams? Are you a perfectionist? Are you, because if you are a visionary, you have to look at the forest. A person who is executing will look at the tree. But if you are going to be saying that I can do it better and nobody else can do better, people will not be interested in working with you. So you have to be able to share your wisdom, your knowledge and expertise with others. And you should teach them, mentor them, but you should not be a stickler for perfection, because that becomes a bottleneck for your own success and growth. Whether you are a victim mentality or entitled, that is another thing that you need to be very clear about. So this is coming to your question, particularly. This is actually a racetrack. It is not in the order of importance. So everybody has to be in their own lane. Every function is very important. You can hire the best sales guy, paying him $1 million. But if your recruiting sucks, or if there is no finances to run the payroll, or if the business operations and the commercial operations are not up to speed, or your HR, your IT, your administration, your legal is not good, the sales guy is a waste of money and time. So you need all these functions to coexist and be in their lanes and make sure that they do what is expected of them. As an entrepreneur, you will be looking at all the functions and making sure that everybody owns the responsibility and he is able to translate your vision into execution. And for that, it takes a lot of effort to nurture this talent. You can't get a sales guy from outside. If the guy is very, very good at making sales, right, he doesn't need you to be a part of your company. So my only thing is, if you're expecting the next million to be done by a guy, if the guy is really smart, he would have done it himself on his own. But you have to understand what is his motivation to come and join you. My strong belief is your goal is to turn a stone into a diamond. You can't hire a diamond and expect a return from that, because the diamond already thinks that he is walk on water and he has got an ego. He feels that he is adding value and he is not going to help you in any form or fashion. I don't know whether that will answer your question, but don't hire a person because he will get you business. Hire a person that he will do the best to your company and be loyal, trustworthy, and help him to succeed in life. And that is where I feel uh, leadership uh, comes into play. So, like I said, the respect for individuals is very critical. We need to have teamwork. We need, problem is, if one function becomes very strong, that will take the control of the company. If finance is saying that, okay, I want to work at 50% margin on every transaction, then finance becomes a too big entity and every other function will take a back seat. So power and position are very critical, but everybody has to do their share. And that becomes a balancing act for the leader. Because as an entrepreneur, you have a conflict of interest. You are also looking at maximizing your profit. You are also interested in getting the business done. So that decision making, if you can entrust it to others and hope that they will do the right thing for you will be able to succeed in that. Because a person who's managing the cash register and also the business will not be able to be objective in his decision making. And transparency and honesty are very, very critical to have a healthy relationship with people. And whatever promises are made, you keep them, and people will definitely be there to build a good cultural organization for you. Coming to Tanisha, this is what we do primarily. We are into IT and non-IT staff augmentation. We do some offshore managed services as well, full-time and contracting. And we do pass through vendor alignment rebadging. We work with a lot of companies in the US. We don't do India to India business at this time. The resources talent pool are all whatever you guys are having at this time. So this is my brief presentation. I don't know whether I've stepped out of my lane, but I thought uh, share my thoughts with you guys.
And valuable information.
Thank you.
Wonderful, 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 Subha. This is the first time I have ever seen, nice presentation, how the people can, take use of, how business and what should we do if you want to start the business and whether you are ready or not. Thank you very much. Please, Chaitanya, please.
So, Subba, one more question, Andy. So I hired one GC candidate recently. I came to know that he is doing second job. Is it legal?
I'm not a legal authority, Andy. It's very difficult for me to answer that question.
Okay.
Sir, you can ask me this Om Prakash Naka. I can answer offline. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a quick question. This is Himesh, by the way. Subba garu, thank you so much for the presentation, and it was really helpful. So my question would be on the transparency part. So imagine, say, me starting a company with 10 people, probably, and how transparent do we need to be on the company finances? For example, say, can you give all the details to the employees that, so and so profit was earned, and we'll be going to maintain it in our balance sheet? How transparent do we need to be in the company?
So this transparency works two ways. One is with respect to your customer. The reason is the resource is working at the customer location and he is going to be having much more interaction with than you guys will have. So when the guy goes and talks to them, he will complain to him that I have a wife, I have children, my inflation is going up and things like that. So by being transparent with the customer, it becomes very easy for the customer to appreciate that you are not making a killing with respect to the margin. And if you are able to eliminate that last mile connection interaction and bypassing, that will save the problem. So you have to tell the resource that for the resource also, as far as his bill rate is concerned, it is going to be sooner or later he will find it out. So you might as well be honest with him and tell him that this is the margin you are making. And when he wants his green card to be done, the company should have the financial wherewithal to justify his I-140. So you have to tell him that this money that he is giving is not going to be wasted. It is going to help him because when the I-140 is going, if the company doesn't have the finances, his I-140 will not be approved. So there is a selfish motivation for him as well to see that the company is profitable.
Understood. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Any other questions, you can unmute and ask.
My name is Saraswati. I have one question. This is not about company, but the topic came in the presentation. So I want to ask one question. I'm working in kind of IT, but I have some civil engineering background since 20 years. I did my master's here and then I started to work. So like it was mentioned, if we are not training the other people in the team, it's considered like we are not a good team member, right? But once we are done with the work and we try to train them, they can like claim because they will know the project, right? And generally we train them so that they get good knowledge of the project, so they can say, this is all I have done it. The other person who trained did not do anything. And maybe in the project, small things might occur as mistakes, like maybe some formatting, color. They will say, all this, I spend a lot of time to correct it. And they can claim the credit. We will get like, okay, she's not a team player or he's not a team player. And they will get all the hard work credit, right?
So I understand what you're saying, but here is what I believe in. There is a saying that the more you give, the more you get. If you want money, give money, charity. You will get charity, money back through income. If you want love, give more love. You will get love back. If you give knowledge, you will get more knowledge. So when in the life scheme of things, you will always find people who are trying to take advantage of you. If you let them control your behavior, then they are winning. Your values, your beliefs, your helping nature should overlook all the shortcomings. In my mind, what I feel is if you do a good job of training others, you will be able to have extra set of eyes looking at your work and see if there is any mistake there. But at the same time, you will be able to get recognized by your management as a leader, as a person who is going to help, because they know that you are the person who is taking care of the rest of the team. You should always think that people are watching you. They are seeing how you are exhibiting, whether you are an individual player or whether you are a leader. And for example, in yesterday, somebody is talking to me, their entire leadership team got laid off. So if you are there, you should always think about your next job, not by eliminating your boss, but thinking that what would I do if I were in my boss's role? Even in an individual organization where you are working, or if you're running a consulting company, you should always tell your subordinates to think as a recruiter. While you are doing your job, you should think what a team lead would do. If you are thinking about a team lead role, you should think as a sales guy what he would do. So without the pressure of performing our results, you can still step up to the plate and deliver and execute. And that is where your things will come up. And we should always believe in God. If whichever form or fashion you believe in, he will maintain a scorecard. So if you are done good to others, good things will happen to you. If somebody is doing harm to you, God is there to fight your battles. You don't have to fight for them.
One more quick question. So I was also like looking at the Abhimanyu exit plan, but I don't know how to execute it. So I believe in it, but I always try to prepare the exit plan, but I don't have one. So any tips how to prepare the exit plan?
So the most important thing is you said that you had 20 years of civil engineer experience and now you are doing in IT. So whatever 20 years of experience is waste if it is not being used in your existing IT job. But if I were to, life is all about connecting the dots. So if I were you, I would start, if your IT job right now is nothing to do with civil engineering, then I would ask you to do certifications in the area where you are working, become the best you can. Because when you are having a job, that is the time you are making the money, that is the time you are investing in yourself. Because most of the time, what happens is for us, education stops at engineering graduation. After that, we are milking the system. We are becoming a liability. We are not learning more. We are not investing in ourselves. Yeah, you can either do a PMP certification, or if you are doing a some tool that you are using extensively, become a certified person. Think of the next job when you have a job, and that is your exit strategy. Because if you add value to the existing job by learning the technology and the tools, you are going to be indispensable in the place where you are. You won't even have to look for another job. But if you stop learning, but if you are only teaching others, then you are trying to eliminate your own role and responsibility. So you have to think about, if I'm doing version 6, can I tell my management that can we try version 7? Is there a better tool technology that we can implement with the same cost and get the better benefits and features in the product that you are using? And that initiative, innovation, creativity will keep your mojo going, and you will have a purpose in life.
Yeah, I don't know. I can take up more time of yours, but one quick thing. Actually, once I read by the Google CEO why Google is so successful. He never kept a non-technical boss over a technical like employee. So mostly like I have 2 degrees since 20 like 10 years I'm doing in IT. So like I have all top certifications. Um, if the manager doesn't know what is the value of that because he's non-technical, then they try to take it in a like they need to take the credit, right? So
Okay. See, at the end of the day, the salary doesn't change whether they take credit or not. Don't worry about that.
yeah,
Having a
Yeah, yeah.
non-technical boss, you should should be very blessed because your job is secure.
Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Garu. It's very insightful questions. This is appreciate. Chandra, sorry, Chaitanya. Let's the next question. One quick question from my one of the friend, Subba Sai Gopal. He's an entrepreneur, small business owner. As a small business owner, how do you identify the projects and get into the project bidding?
I am very good at IT staffing. I'm not good at project bidding. Project bidding is a different animal altogether. A company which has got the IT staffing mindset will not do project bidding properly. Because
What
in
about
staffing,
TNM, right? TNM, you do the TNM.
yeah,
I think
T&M
that is
is
also project, right? TNM also
no.
project.
T&M is not projects. T&M is instant gratification. Chet magni patbya. Here, can I put a person on billing? Can I make money instantaneously? What is our bottom line? With that mindset, you can't do SOW business. A person who has got an SOW business cannot do T&M. So that is what I keep telling. You have to decide what you want to be. You can't be all over the map. Because, for example, I have seen so many companies taking the profit of T&M because the valuation sucks. I don't know, unless you have an exit strategy of selling the company, why would you chase an SOW business? Are you trying to prove to the world that you are very good at it? The company can do only one good thing at a time. If the company is trying to diversify T&M and SOW at the same time, trust me, SOW is going to suck up the entire bandwidth and the resources of the T&M company. So I have seen so many companies, I won't have to mention them, they have sunk in a lot of money on SOW and walked away from it. The reason is in T&M, you can go and get a resource of the skill set that you need. In an SOW, it is a moving target. It is going to be a technology driven thing. It could be different versions. It could be different players. And as a smaller company, you don't stand a chance when the top management decides to take this product and give it to one of the big system integrators. Even if you develop the entire product, they keep the IP rights and they will take it away in no time. So my thinking is SOW business is a long game. T&M is an instant gratification game.
I got it. Thank you. Sorry, Chaitanya, please continue the call,
Yes.
please.
Subba garu, one more question from one of our audience. Pros and cons of offshore recruiting. How to hire the best talent?
See, recruiting in the USA is going to be a very expensive proposition. You cannot have recruiters in the USA. You can only have salespeople in the USA. Even the business operations, commercial operations, most of the operations should be done offshore because we have the dollar rupee arbitrage. If you want to have recruiting in the USA, you need to have captive business and a high profitable business. And I don't think that is sustainable in the long run.
And
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Subba garu.
Hello.
వినిపిస్తుందండి?
వినిపిస్తుందండి, చెప్పండి.
యా సారీ, నేను ఎవరిని ఇంటరప్ట్ చేసినట్టున్నా. చాలా థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. ఇట్ వాజ్ అ గ్రేట్ సెషన్ అండి. నా పేరు రత్న. అండ్ ఐ థింక్ మీరు చెప్పిన పాయింట్స్ అని నాట్ లైక్ ప్రొఫెషనల్ కాదు, పర్సనల్ గా కూడా అందరి లైఫ్ లో ఉపయోగించుకోవచ్చు, డైలీ లైఫ్ లో. అండ్ నేను అడిగే క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే అండి, బేసిక్ గా ఇప్పుడు కొత్త, అంటే నాకు తెలిసి ఇందులో చాలా మంది ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ ఫర్మ్స్ ఉన్నారు. లెట్ సపోజ్ కొత్త న్యూ స్టార్ట్అప్ ఫర్మ్ స్టార్ట్ చేయాలంటే బయట మార్కెట్ లో బేసిక్ గా ఎక్కడ చూసినా లైక్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ క్యాండిడేట్స్ అడుగుతారు కదా. సో హౌ కెన్ వి గ్రాప్, అంటే యూ సెడ్ యూనిట్ టు బి హానెస్టీ, రైట్? సో ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఓపీటీ స్టూడెంట్ ఇప్పుడు H1 వాళ్ళు ఏమీ లేని కంపెనీ తీసుకొచ్చి H1 వాళ్ళు మన కంపెనీకి వస్తారంటే వచ్చినా కష్టమే, లీగల్ గా కూడా వాళ్ళకి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అయితే. I mean, we are assuring them, right? So that would be a problem. So the only one guys who we can take is like H1, the OPT, CPT వాళ్ళని. సో వాళ్ళని తీసుకెళ్ళి బయట మార్కెట్లోకి వెళ్తే మినిమం ఎక్కడ చూసినా మినిమం 4 years 5 years లేని ఎవరు తీసుకోరండి. అండ్ అట్లా వచ్చే వాళ్ళు కూడా చాలా తక్కువ మంది పీపుల్. అండ్ ఇఫ్ సమ్మన్ కమింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇండియా, రైట్, దిల్ ట్రై టు సీ ఫర్ ఎన్ ఫుల్ టైమ్ ఆర్ ఎనీ ఇంటర్న్ ఆర్ సంథింగ్. సో అలాంటి టైంలో ఎలా సస్టైన్ అవ్వాలండి? జస్ట్ ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ ఫర్ ఎ బిగినర్ అడుగుతున్నా నేను.
అది when it clicks అండి. The problem is ఇది రైట్ రెసిపీ చెప్పడం కష్టము. మనము ఓపీటీ వాడిని ట్రైనింగ్ గినింగ్ చేసినా కానీ వాడు ఉంటాడో లేదో నమ్మకం లేదు. అట్ ద ఆపర్చునిటీ ఫస్ట్ ఆపర్చునిటీ స్టోరీలు చెప్పేసి వెళ్ళిపోతుంటారు. you have to take chances in the sense, right? You have to depend on H1Bs and route them through another company which are established. And సర్టిఫికేషన్లో ఎక్కువ ఇన్సిస్ట్ చేయండి మనుషులకి, ఎందుకంటే ల్యాక్ ఆఫ్ యుఎస్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్. నా ఉద్దేశంలో సర్టిఫికేషన్లో 10 రెజ్యూమేలు ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి, సర్టిఫికేషన్ రెజ్యూమే ఒక ఛాన్స్ ఉంటుంది. ఈవెన్ దో హీ డజంట్ హ్యావ్ యుఎస్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్, he will have an opportunity to get into the interview stage, and then might be he can find whether that opportunity is fitting for him or not. You might have to compromise on the bill rate, but you have to be mentioning over the LCA so that you don't compromise on that. But to be honest with you, on a case-to-case basis, it is very difficult to say. The barriers of entry into staffing industry is very low, Andy. You can everybody వాళ్ళు తెలుసు వీళ్ళు తెలుసు $5 అది ఇది అని వచ్చేస్తారు. కానీ టు సస్టైన్ దట్ బిజినెస్ అండ్ గ్రో దట్ బిజినెస్ ఈజ్ ఎ ఛాలెంజ్, బికాస్ ద స్కేల్ ఉండకపోతే యూ విల్ నాట్ బి ఏబుల్ టు సస్టైన్. ఆ స్కేల్ రావాలి అంటే యూ నీడ్ టు ఇన్వెస్ట్ అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ లాంగ్ రన్ బ్యాటల్, బికాస్ దిస్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఎ ప్రోడక్ట్, దిస్ ఈస్ పీపుల్. వెన్ దే లీవ్ ఇన్ డ్రోస్, దే మాబ్ మెంటాలిటీ లాగా ఉంటుంది.
Got it, and thank you.
Uday, Andy,
Very well said. Very well said.
sir, I have one question, sir. So, one second, sir. So, if you can throw some light on partnership pros and cons, and if you are having some investors investing into our firm, what precautions to take?
I am not an authority on that, but I can tell you only one thing. If somebody is investing, they are expecting a rate of return. So if you are promising them high bill rates and high margins, which are not sustainable, that business model will fail. The expectation has to be reality, and the operate at a lower side rather than on the optimistic side, because business continuity is a challenge. The margins are not guaranteed, but the costs are definitely going to be fixed. నాకు పార్ట్నర్షిప్ ఇంకా ఎవరు జాతకాలు అడగాలేమో కుదురుతుందో లేదా.
ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అండి. సో లైక్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ ఆర్ ఇంటూ IT industry. Like what are the upcoming technologies or which will have probably a good billing or hot market right now?
So this is one thing that I always even though I started my education on technical side, I have become more non-technical. So you take it with a pinch of salt. First thing ఏమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే, don't take the easy technology to master. Because for example, జావా ఉందనుకోండి, every 6 months or 1 year ఒక వర్షన్ వస్తుంది. సో the next batch will come with the latest technology. వర్షన్ 8లోకి వచ్చేస్తాడు, 10లోకి వచ్చేస్తాడు డైరెక్ట్గా. మనము 6 నుంచి 10 దాకా కొట్టుకుంటా వెళ్తాము. సో ద ప్రాబ్లం ఏమవుతుందంటే, unless once you get into the IT job, every మన లైఫ్ స్పాన్ లో మనకు మ్యారేజ్ అవుతుంది, పిల్లలు వస్తారు, మన ఎబిలిటీ టు spend more time on the job becomes less, but the new crop will be having more free time. They will come with the latest enthusiasm and also the latest technology, and we will become obsolete in no time. So నాకేమనిపిస్తుందంటే, if you want to stay in this game as a consultant for a long haul, you need to take the undesirable, most difficult, and barriers of entry should be very high. నాకు ఎప్పుడు అనిపిస్తుంది C++ చాలా మంది చేయరు. సో అది ఎందుకు చేయరు అంటే కష్టం అని. మనము మెంటాలిటీ ఏంటి, ఏది ఈజీగా వస్తుందో అది చేద్దామని. అది ఈజీగా వచ్చేది తొందరగా అబ్సల్యూట్ అయిపోతుంది, డిస్ప్లేస్ అయిపోతాం. టఫ్గా ఉన్నది ఎవడు వెళ్ళడు కాబట్టి వీ షుడ్ గో. సో వెన్ యూ ఆర్ గోయింగ్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు స్విమ్ అగేన్స్ట్ ద టైడ్. ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ విత్ ద టైడ్, you will be one among the many, and you could be replaced and displaced very, very quickly. Your uniqueness has to be there in the talent that you are doing. So try to pick some skill which does not change with time. Linux administration undanukondi, Unix administration, it doesn't change. Windows prati 6 నెలలకి ఒకటి వచ్చేస్తుంటుంది. So the problem is pick Unix, because nobody wants to go into Unix side at all. అక్కడ మన వాల్యూ ప్రపోజిషన్ ఉంటుంది. సో కాన్షల్ అలాంటి సిస్టమ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ టూల్స్ కానీ లేకపోతే C++ కానీ ఏదన్నా ఒకటి మాస్టర్ అయిపోయి అనుకోండి, యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ 20-30 years ఆఫ్ లైఫ్ స్పాన్ యాజ్ ఎ డెవలపర్. మనం యాజ్ వి కీప్ గోయింగ్ అప్, మనం అందరము గూగుల్ CEO, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ CEO అంటాం కానీ ఇంతమంది వచ్చారు, అంత ఫ్యూ పీపుల్ ఓన్లీ CEOs అవుతారు. ఇట్స్ ఎ పిరమిడ్ స్కీమ్. సో మనము పైకి వెళ్తున్న కొద్దీ ద కాంపిటీషన్ ఈస్ ఫియర్స్, ద ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఆర్ లెస్. If you want to be a developer for the rest of your lifetime, pick something that doesn't change, but you are able to stay relevant into the workplace arena. If it changes too frequently, you have to be nimble, adaptive, and you have to be creative. And that becomes a challenge with time because you won't have the time to learn.
Subba garu, this is Hari Andi from Hasaratek. I've been running business from last couple of years. We are trying to get vendorship with new companies, Andy. So most of the companies are not opening the doors for the vendorships. Am I right? So how is there any better approach to get the vendorship for direct clients?
Vendorship has become a big battle, Andy. The minimum company size has to be $100 million to become a vendor. And దానిలో వచ్చిన తర్వాత కూడా there is a fierce competition to stay in the game, and it's like ఎకనామిక్స్ ఆఫ్ స్కేల్ అయిపోతుంది అనమాట. ఈ కంపెనీస్ ఏం ఆలోచిస్తున్నారంటే, ఇఫ్ ఐ గివ్ దిస్ మచ్ ఆఫ్ బిజినెస్, కెన్ ఐ ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ ఏ లోవర్ మార్జిన్, అండ్ దాట్ ఈస్ ద స్కేల్ దట్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ లుకింగ్ అట్ టు గ్రో ద బిజినెస్. సో మీరు యాజ్ ఎ స్మాలర్ ఎంటర్ప్రినర్, ఐ వుడ్ రాదర్, if I this is my, you can take it for what it is worth. Don't waste your time becoming a vendor. Focus on the resource, control the resource pool, and get through good companies which will pay you on time, and use them as your segue to staying relevant, staying in the business. Because if you have $1, if you are going to spend it on BDM, you might as well spend it on developing the resources and creating a bigger pool of good quality candidates rather than spending it on sales at this time. Unless don't go for the big large corporations, go for the smaller corporations which are less than $150-200 million, which are local to your area, where you can go and meet them, and that competition will be there less.
I think we are 8 minutes over time, Andy. So
Thank you, sir.
So questions are
Subba, one question for you. I always puzzled by your success and I always envy of you. The one thing is, how do you grow the company from 20 million to 100 million, 100 million to 200 million? Can you share some tips to existing entrepreneurs on how to scale up this to the next level? And what is the, I know it is at the macro level, macro level. Sorry, Chaitanya, to cut you.
So I am not a CEO of a big company, so take it disclaimer anamata pratidaniki. ఒకటి
We're not going to
ఏంటంటే,
sue Subba.
నో సూయింగ్ కాదు, వీడు పెద్ద తోపుగాడేమో అని చెప్పేసి ఫీలింగ్ లో ఉన్నాడేమో అని చెప్పేసి అనుకుంటారేమో అని నా బాధ. సో ద పాయింట్ ఈస్, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు బి హ్యావింగ్ ఎ లాంగ్ టర్మ్ కెరియర్ కదా, వీ హ్యావ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఏ డిసిప్లిన్. కానీ దానికి ఇంకా ముందర ఒక అడ్జెక్టివ్ చెప్తాను, కన్సిస్టెంట్ డిసిప్లిన్ ఉండాలి. ఏంటి, ఈ వారము బిజినెస్ బాగా వచ్చేసింది అని చెప్పేసి నెక్స్ట్ డే లేట్గా వెళ్ళామనుకోండి, ఫర్ మీ వెన్ ఐ వేకప్, ఐ లుక్ అట్ ఆల్ ద పీపుల్ హూ రిపోర్ట్ టు మీ. సో మై థాట్ ప్రాసెస్ హ్యాస్ టు బి, ఐ హ్యావ్ టు బి పాజిటివ్, ఐ హ్యావ్ టు కమ్ అప్ విత్ ideas, I have to come up with energy, enthusiasm, direction, vision. I have to instill that in somebody else who is remotely sitting in India or some other place. So I have to be at the top of my game. ఇంట్లో పెళ్ళం కొట్లాడింది, తిట్టింది అని చెప్పేసి ఆఫీస్కి తీసుకెళ్ళి చిరాక్కుని వేరే వాళ్ళకి మనసులు చాలా ఈజీగా బ్రేక్ అయిపోతాయి అన్నమాట మనుషులకి. యూ హ్యావ్ టు బీ అట్ ద టాప్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ గేమ్ ఆల్ త్రూ ద టైమ్, అండ్ యూ కెనాట్ బీ అన్ప్రెడిక్టబుల్. ఈ రోజు వాడు బాస్ ఏ మూడ్లో వస్తాడో అని చెప్పేసి భయం వేస్తూ ఉండకూడదు అనమాట. సో వెదర్ యు ఆర్ ఎన్ ఎంటర్ప్రినర్ ఆర్ ఎ మేనేజర్, దిస్ అప్లైస్ టు యూ. You have to be consistent, you have to be level-headed, you have to be balanced. For that, you should be at peace of mind. And your goals and your expectations should be reasonable, realistic. అన్ఫార్చునేట్లీ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ ఏంటంటే మనము ఒకరిని హైర్ చేయగానే వెంటనే వాడు $1 million చేసేయాలని చెప్పేసి వాడి మీద ప్రెషర్ పెట్టేసి వాడు చేయకపోతే వాడిని ఫైర్ చేసేసి ఇన్స్టెంట్ గ్రాటిఫికేషన్ లేకపోతే మనుషులు కూడా అలాగే ఉన్నారు. మనం కూడా తప్పేం కాదు, వాళ్ళు కూడా తప్పు కాదు. సో వెన్ ఐ లుక్ అట్ మై ఓన్ కెరియర్, every day I keep thinking about the careers of the people, how my behavior is going to impact them. So you have to eat on time, you have to be attending on time, live on time. You lead by example. You have to, మనం క్లాస్ పీకేమనుకోండి ఎవడు ఎండో, మనం చూసి నేర్చుకుంటాం.
I got it. Still, it didn't tell me the secret sauce of how to take company from 20 million to 100 million. Anyway,
But I'll tell you
Chaitanya.
more things if you want.
We'll discuss more.
I'll tell you something more.
I will
like
have
here.
one more session with you on sales and scalability. And Chaitanya, please
You
continue.
will not get the
Sorry,
answer
stop
from
here.
me home anyway. ఒకటే చెప్తాను. ఒకటి, I have a feeling that I'm not the best. So I hire people who are good at what I'm not good at. And I trust them to do the right job. If the credit goes to them, if they're successful, the blame goes to me if they fail, because they are under my watch and ward. So my thinking is, I don't give them reply email ఎక్కువ చేయను, ఇన్స్టెంట్ మెసేజింగ్ ఎక్కువ చేస్తాను. వాడికి ఏమైనా తప్పు చేస్తున్నాడు అంటే I correct them on chat. So I praise them in public and suggest changes in private. So if I am going to, I have to think that my team is the reason why I'm successful. Because if I am single, I only have 2 hands and 8 hours a day. But if I have 100 people, I have 200 hands and about 800 hours per day. So that is the thought process that we can accomplish more. And when I people, I give them a growth path. 1 plus 3 ni bedtanu. I'll tell them the senior recruiter will become a team lead. The team lead will become a sales guy. So there is a growth path for them, and they feel that they are answerable to the performance of their team. So I trust them to do the right thing of hiring, firing, modifying, and cajoling them to do the job. I think it works
Wonderful.
out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It works out in the long run.
Yeah, so Chaitanya, please take over. Sorry to.
Yeah. We are writing over the
Subba
time,
garu.
like 13 minutes over time. I'm posting the email ID of Subba garu, like you can reach out there, or reach out to any of us. We can also share directly.
Yeah, before closing, I have 2 things to say, Andy. If anybody wants to reach out to me for opportunities, for jobs, please, if as long as they are honest and there is no fake, send it to me. Otherwise, don't bother, because I don't want to be caught in these transactions of proxy and other fudge resumes. The second thing, నాకు తెలిసింది నేను చెప్పాను to the best of my knowledge. If I have gone out of line or I said something wrong to hurt anybody, it's not my intention. But whatever I have said, take it with a pinch of salt and take legal consultation or whatever needs to be done. And I pray that you all succeed, do well, and provide careers and livelihoods for a lot of other people. Being an entrepreneur is a blessing, because there are a lot of people who are looking for jobs, who are looking to put food on their table. And it's a noble cause that you guys are doing. It takes a lot of courage to do it. So God bless you and continue to prosper and thrive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And just an announcement from Atmiya. We are hosting a Holi celebrations in person on Sunday, March 5th, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And venue is Heritage Park in Flower Mount, Texas. The flyers will be distributed.
Subba
So
garu,
all
you should come and
all Atmiya members, please join the Atmiya sessions. Each region we're conducting the sessions. Please join. Thank you very much. This is just beginning. We'll have one more workshop with the Subba and other people. More sessions are coming in on the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shashank, sorry, continue.
Thank you, Subba garu, for joining
I was just inviting Subba garu andi to our Atmiya Dallas event.
My God. Yeah.
He's
I'm
in New
coming to
Jersey. I will
Dallas.
invite him. I will invite him. Yeah, if he's coming to Dallas, please invite him. New Jersey will come.
Okay. Definitely. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Subba.
you.
By the way,
Thank you.
Subba is serious in this call. He's a wonderful, jovial person. Oh my God, you will love his presence. Yes, if anyone has it, you should experience his presence.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
No, Subba, you are, no, I love you. It's not about business,
Thank you.
It's
Thank you very
it's a
much.
blessing, it's a God's given blessing to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Subba garu, I have one question. Is it right time?
Yeah, go ahead. I am not doing anything else.
Subba garu, this is Uday Shankar from Hyderabad actually, and I currently am working for a Indian recruitment company, and currently I have worked for a US recruitment for around 5 years, and currently I'm exploring certain roles, not as a full time, but on a part time actually, wherein especially in the areas of lead gen, account management, and business management. So, is there any scope? Not really with Tanisha, but because I think I could see there are around some 60 plus people still on the call. So I just thought of checking if anyone is looking for a lead gen guy or an account management guy just for 3 to 4 hours kind of a time. Definitely, I wanted to add value, and I worked closely with a couple of Atmiya entrepreneurs actually for the US market.
So actually, part time normal ga idi chala problematic scenario andi because conflict of interest ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట.
Okay.
So if you are looking at switching your career as a full time, that would be a best thing. But if you feel that it's a part time is good, I would rather suggest that you can start your own company and help people to get vendorship. The people on Atmiya who are looking for help, and you can get paid for that services rather than looking at a employment opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, because as an employee, you will not make much money. If you're able to facilitate alignment or approval with a company, that would be a helpful thing.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but you can always think in those lines.
No worries, sir. And as you rightly pointed out, because I'm right now working for one company which is purely into the staffing organization, and right now they have done a lot of investments, especially to get into and build up their SOWs. As you mentioned, there is a lot of difference in terms of expectations as compared to T&M, the staffing companies. You do your work and get the money paid for it, but in terms of SOWs or solutions, there is a vast difference in the sales cycle.
Yeah, I think it's a different cup of tea. But most of the entrepreneurs, నాకు ఇదే కన్ఫ్యూజన్ వస్తుంది అనమాట. They want to go into SOW, but they don't know why they want to get into SOW, or they don't know what is their exit strategy, because you are taking away the resources from the T&M, which is your bread and butter and mothership, and you are trying to incubate other things. And if it does not work out, the more pressure on the T&M. So you cannot put your feet on two boats and go through all the time. So you will have to decide what you want to do. And someday you might end up losing both.
Okay.
Thank you.